photo, record.
Okay.
You're good.
Good evening. Without Area 58, we are recording this meeting. Date of the meeting is February 20th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. And we are not in room 3. We are now in room 4. Tonight, we're going to take a few things out of order. One of our members will be attending the planning board meeting in room 3. Discussion and possible vote tonight. The first thing we will be discussing is the votes to release the executive session minutes. They go from March 2015 down through February 2025. This September 15th on the agenda was an error. And all we are having to do tonight is to release them. I prepared a motion. I need somebody to give me a motion to release the following executive session minutes that were approved on. And with a motion, please read all of the dates. Would you like to do that?
Sure. I make a motion to release the following executive session meetings that were approved on March 23rd, 2015, August 13th, 2019, September 9th, 2019, October 8th, 2019, Montello Street, October 8th, 2019, Forest Street, November 12th, 2019, December 10th, 2019, January 14th, 2020, February 11th, 2020, and February 25th, 2020.
That motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, I have a second. Is there any further discussion? Being none?
Wait. Just one question.
Sure.
We are releasing these primarily to answer the open meeting law request from Mr. Higgins. Is that correct?
That is correct. But in addition to that, from the very, very top of 2015, I found out we had a lot of executive session minutes that were all approved but never released.
All right, fine. So the 2015 one is not something that's going to go to Mr.
That's
Higgins.
right. The only thing that's going to go to him is the January 14, 2020, February 11th, 2020, and February 25, 2020.
Okay, fine.
And if I could just clarify too, there's a minutes that you did not mention in the motion, and that was September 15th, 2020. You finished off February 25th.
September, that's the error. That got picked up by mistake. September 15th was the meeting that actually approved the last 2 minutes of February 11th.
So we don't need to vote on that?
No.
Okay.
So that should be stricken.
Okay, fine. I have nothing else.
So no further discussion.
So I will I'll set up and do what I can.
Okay. Being no further discussion, do I have a vote? We'll take a roll call vote. Pat?
Yes.
Savory Moore says aye.
Jim Elliman says aye.
Joanna Layton says aye.
They did. They just got here right now. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, so that's that. This Susan Hanlon, package goes to you. Those are all the executive sessions that you would need to upload. Okay, that's done that. Okay, let's jump around here. Let me move on the because of timing here. We're going to take 2 later. Right now, I want to talk about 3 real quick. The warrant article for the care and custody of Wade Street. I was corresponding and talking openly with our Kathleen, who will be the closing attorney. It's my belief, Savory, that you are in touch with Art Borden.
Yes.
Art Borden is the guy that surveyed the land, and she needs to have a copy of that so she can update the title.
I'm picking that up from Art, or his son, on Thursday.
Okay, great. And
along with the invoice.
She said, if possible, please take a picture of the plan or scan, and you can do that. There's also an acceptance of deed document that she sent along, and it has to be notarized by the chair, as well as the chair for the Concom. And it has to be signed by the selectmen as a vote of not a vote, it's just acceptance. That's how they're gonna do it. And they don't need to notarize that because it's just an acceptance. So we can work on that probably this week, following up with what you're doing.
Well, once I get a picture of the plans to Kathleen, she can send us whatever she needs to, and then we can sign it all at their next meeting,
Okay,
I guess.
I would think so. And then
But we have to get it notarized.
you and I, yeah.
Yeah.
So we would have to, I guess, we have to call Kara in here. How are we gonna do this?
We can talk to Kara about
Okay,
that.
let's try. And then after we do that, then we can send that acceptance of document up to the select board.
Okay.
I don't think I personally have to meet with them unless they ask me to do that, so.
No, I mean, they've already told us that they
Right.
didn't want the property.
Exactly,
We met with them already.
exactly. All right,
Now, just to be clear, that your number 3 on the agenda does say warrant article, and it's been determined that we do
Yes.
not need a warrant article because there is no money being transferred.
That
So there is no town vote necessary. It's just a transfer of property
Right,
with no
that-
monetary value.
right, thank you for reminding me that. The other thing, we'll jump now to where it says for Maggie Schmidt, request for the annual report. I just want to let you know that there was an email that came to me from Tom Bott. Actually, you were copied on it, Saber. And Tom Bott, what Maggie would like to have is a copy of a financial report showing receipts and what we've done and not done. Now, it was so late and we've never done this before. I asked Sharon, I called her up. She said she's never was asked to do any of that in the beginning of it, right? Sharon, I believe you can say the same.
I've never heard of it. I didn't do one last year.
Right. So I do have a call into Tom Bott. He was very busy today, and the word came back that he'll get back to me and work with me.
Okay.
I did send the town report. You saw that report that I wrote back for the town. And I also sent the 2023 treasurer's report to Tom as a begin. And
That's got everything on it.
I know, it's got
Yeah.
everything. I would think that would be so.
Have you called Maggie at all?
No, I didn't.
You might
I
want to do
was
that and
waiting
just
for
say, hey,
Tom.
we've never done this before.
Yeah,
Why is this,
well, I can do that tomorrow.
why is this new?
Yeah, I was just kind of waiting for Tom, he said he would
Okay.
call me back, so. And I want to ask him a few other things as well, so. But anyway, that takes care of that. What we need to do is those 3, well, the next is the treasury report. We might as well look at that real quick. The treasury report for 2023, Pat?
Well, the treasurer's report for the month, really. It's
Correct.
And I have to.
Yeah, I printed it out. You want to have that? You want to talk about that?
I have to find it. Okay,
Okay.
let's see. We've got. Thank you. The. No, that's not the right one.
That's not the right one?
No.
Really?
No. let me
Oh, yes, the back, okay, hold on. I got it here, I got it. Here, this is the right one. This is the tail end of the 23 one.
The treasurer's report of our 3 accounts that are within the Rockland banking. We have the checking account with a balance of $253.99. We have the RDA money market account, which is at $58,428.55. And we've got the urban renewal plan account, which is at $1,280.49. And there are no outstanding issues. Those are the
Is
balances.
that effective, is that as of January 31st?
Yes,
Okay.
that's of January 31st, thank you.
Does she want to put that up? Does she want that report?
It's up to you. Do you want it on the minutes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good, thank you.
All right, I make a motion that we approve the financial report from January 2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any further discussion? Being none, we approve. Joanna said aye too, by the way. The next thing we're going to do is those 3 months of minutes. We need to approve those. November 7th, December 5th, and December 13th. So could I have we'll do each one separately?
All right.
Is that okay? Okay. Do I have a motion for the November 7th, 2023 minutes to be approved?
So moved.
Okay, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so no discussion. That's approved. Next minute meeting to be approved would be December 5th, 2023.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for December 5th, 2023.
Second.
A motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. The next meeting minutes would be December 13th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of December 13th, 2023.
Second.
There's been a second. All those, is there any further discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's been approved. Very good. Okay, moving right along. Let's go back. Let's see. Before I do this, and it gets into the discussion, I just want to talk about making the next meeting. I need to, because I know we're going to get entangled with our discussion here. The 12th, the 5th, the first Tuesday is primary election.
Can't do it then.
Cannot do that. The next Tuesday is the 12th. I called today, it's available for us. Are we available to have that as a next meeting?
I can do that.
You can do that? How about you,
What's
James?
that?
Jim?
Yep.
Pat too?
March 12th?
Yeah?
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So March 12th will be the next meeting here. At 6:30. All right. All right, let's go back. The open meeting law. Bob Belden, I gave you a lot of information, and Bob Belden is here, for those of you who don't know Bob. This is discussion. I do want to let you know that we have an opinion. Bob, you got that opinion as well. I also was very interested in finding out what the legal expenses were relative to the open meeting law for the 23, 22, and I can pass this around if you want to see it, for the 21. And so far, open meeting laws cost the town taxpayers, you and I, for those 3 years, $15,582.50.
That was in the past 3 years?
Excuse me?
The last 3 years?
Last 3
Is
years.
that how many thousand?
15.
50 or 15?
Here you go, pass that around. Okay. The open meeting law, the information I gave you was the first part that we had gotten in August,
Thank you.
and the details behind that were what Bob had asked for. Now mind you, as I flip through these pages, if you have anything that you want to discuss, and then we'll go back. But right now, this is the detail. Okay, there's a lot of it. The first open meeting law was on, Greg had responded back for us on September 6th, 2023. He acknowledged the receipt, and he was authorizing this response. It said the complaint alleges that the notice for the August 1st, 2023 meeting did not comply with the posting requirements of the open meeting law because the notice did not contain sufficient detail concerning the authority's discussion and vote to invite resumes for the position of consultant. And then it goes on. And then he concludes. All that goes back to the Attorney General. And then the second open meeting law came December 22nd, 2023, when Greg, it didn't come, kind of earlier than that, based on the August 1st. It was further looked at by Mr. Belvin or Bob, Greg responded to the Attorney General again. And it said, this is the second complaint lodged by the complainant concerning the notice of the RDA's August 1st, 2023 meeting. And then he writes in the conclusion of it, he says, in this matter, the complaint likely accuses the RDA and the undersigned counsel of misleading your office when it is he who is actually acting in bad faith by filing baseless complaints and taking positions that are clearly contrary to records of which he is aware. This is another in a long line of frivolous complaints from the same individual. While the purpose of the open meeting law is to ensure transparency in the deliberations of public bodies, it is clear that this complaint is doing nothing more than using the open meeting law complaint process as a weapon to embarrass and harass town officials. In doing so, he is wasting scarce public resources, abusing the legal system, and is a source of costly, vexatious, and persistent harm to the volunteer public officials of the town who are merely trying to perform their duties in good faith. This misconduct should not be tolerated, and the complainant should be strongly admonished against such behavior in the future. We'll give you a chance. So what goes on? And on. Now, Greg Corbell attended our December 13th meeting, right?
Yes.
Right. So now he is writing back on to them. And on January 24th, the AG responded back to us. And there's quite a few pages. They talked about the facts, I'm sure you know, the discussion, and in conclusion, they're saying, for the reasons stated above, we find that the authority violated the open meeting law by posting an insufficiently specific notice for its August 1st meeting. We order immediate and future compliance with the law's requirements, and we caution that similar future violations may be considered evidence of intent to violate the law. As the authority did not take action at the August 1st meeting to retain Ms. Clark as a consultant, we order no further remedial action. Now, we now consider the complaint addressed by this determination to be resolved. This determination does not address any other complaints that may be pending with our office or the board. Please feel free to contact, and they gave the number 617-963-2540 if you have any questions. All right. I think it's only fair, Bob, that you're here tonight. I did invite you. You have something, and the committee, I'm sure, will entertain listening.
Okay. So, first off, for this whole thing about what's going on with these open meeting law complaints, take this out of my own border. For the facts, so everyone knows the facts, you can go online and do this. I printed out a copy for all of you guys here, highlighted. The highlighted ones are all the open meeting law complaints that I've filed. All of them.
Were you on this paper? From 22, 23?
I have one against you and the other one's pending. I have two.
Okay.
Open meeting law complaints from the time frame that you just stated.
Oh, okay.
Two.
Okay.
Two. Okay? So all the highlighted ones here, which right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, the Attorney General's office has found that the town has violated the open meeting law in some way, shape, or form. Okay? Out of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, the Attorney General's office said, you haven't violated, or I should say the town hasn't violated the open meeting law. Okay? And out of those four, one was kind of, it might have been, it might not have been. Okay? But they sided with the town on that. Out of those, okay, Greg Corbo has 8 out of the 11 that he's lost. When he's responded to an open meeting law complaint that I filed, he's lost 8 out of the 11. Attorney Goldberg, she had 1 loss. And Miss O'Donnell, she's 50-50. She got 1 win, 1 loss. Okay, so this contradicts my frivolousness of violations that the town has done. What this actually does say is that the town is not doing a good enough job teaching elected and appointed officials the open meeting law and the public records law. That's you guys. When I became a member, I learned the laws. I read them. Then I go to determinations that are filed. And I look at them every now and then to see the new ones that get filed. To say, okay, this is something new. I didn't know that. So I want to go back to Pat first, all right, that you turn around and say they're frivolous. In your opinion, they're frivolous. But you know what? The Attorney General's office doesn't see it that way. They see it that you violated the law. Okay? And arrogance is one thing. But you know what? When you make a mistake, admit it.
We did.
Wait.
Oh.
Not on these responses. The responses that Greg Corbo, you never admitted. We made a mistake and we're sorry. All right, we're going to do better. Never. Not one of these ones that I turned around and made complaints, not one board or committee came forward and said, sorry, we made a mistake. We shouldn't have done it that way. Okay? So there we go for that. All right?
Okay,
now,
let me just say something.
Go ahead.
Most of what you do is frivolous, and I don't know, you're the self-appointed open meeting law police, or whatever you think you are, okay? But you're also out there with on Facebook with your little band of groupies. You called us conspirators, you called us liars, and you called us criminals. I got no use for you.
Okay, so I'd like to address those.
You said that. You got it, it's in right, yeah.
I'd like to address those.
Yeah, you're really something.
Okay? Well, you can think that way, that's fine, sir. But what I want to tell you is that, number one, the open meeting law is there for everyone to follow. It's a law. Whether you like it or don't like it, you think it's frivolous or not. If you feel that way, then you go to the State House and you ask it to be changed. Okay? That's number one. Conspirators. Okay? This is my opinion on that. Joanna sent an email, and you may not want to discuss this because it's a pending open meeting law complaint against you. This is my legal advice to you, don't say a word. All right, just listen. Okay?
I don't care what your opinion is.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But Joanna Layton, actually let me go back. The board, the whole thing was Sharon Clark, okay? Sharon Clark sold her house. I knew she was selling her house, I kept track of it, and I knew when it got sold. And before then, I talked to somebody and said, hey, this is going on, you might want to check with this. All of a sudden, a Greg Corbo opinion comes up, okay? That he says it's okay for her to serve on the Redevelopment Authority and the zoning board. I'm only going to talk about the Redevelopment Authority. This is a law. You think it's frivolous.
I didn't say that.
Mass General Law, Chapter 121B, Section 5. Membership in a housing and redevelopment authority shall be restricted to residents of the city or town. Period, comes right that. Any one of you guys move out of town, as soon as you move out of town, you're no longer a member. Her resignation was moot, all right, because as soon as you move out of town, you're no longer a resident of the town.
We understand that, yes.
Well, that's not what Greg Corbo,
Well,
his opinion.
you have to take that up with him.
Okay, well, hopefully that will at some point. But needless to say, all right, you guys paid for an opinion, all right, that was incorrect. And the emails between you and Sharon Clark to others proves that. So, with that being said, you had the whole thing that says utilization of consultant.
Right.
Okay, this is where I'm gonna tell you guys, you don't wanna say anything, but utilization of a consultant. Prior to that, did any of you guys know before her email got sent to all you guys, all right, did you know that you were gonna turn up Sharon Clark, wanted to be a consultant? Well, I'm telling you, don't answer that question because you could be in trouble, all right? In my opinion, no, because Joanna sent an email to the quorum of the board saying, we want Sharon Clark as our consultant. That corrupted all the members. This is where the corruption comes into play. It corrupted everyone to say, yes, we want her back as a consultant. So when you guys came into your meeting, all right, for utilization of the consultant, and Sharon Clark was here, I think it was not by coincidence, so you didn't know she was coming, all right? But whatever, that's my own opinion, all right? But with you turning around that email going out to all of them, you corrupted their minds to turn around and come in for utilization of the consultant should be about the consultant position, period. That's it. That's what should have happened, and it didn't. It got moved in. When I watched that meeting, it's my opinion that the vote that you guys all took, where you asked her to become a consultant, do you want to be it? Yeah, I'm interested in it. Okay, great. Your email to the attorney, and I'll get to that in a second, again, that one turned around, kind of solidified my thinking and saying, huh, she was asked, she accepted, all right, she's sending her resume in. All that happened. And then the meeting that you guys all had here, all right, about it said, huh, why would anybody want to apply for a consultant position after you just had a long discussion saying, all right, we want you here? Why would anybody want to apply for a position knowing you're going to give it to her anyways? That again,
No.
that's my opinion.
All right, that's your
My
opinion.
opinion,
Right.
okay? That, why would you do it? That being said, okay? Then I turn around and I file an ethics complaint, okay, against you guys, all right? And that ethics complaint, I got a response back, said they did investigate it, okay? And because it didn't come out to a public meeting for it, they didn't release what they did. You guys can release it, whatever they said or told you what to do. I know what they told you to do, just because you guys, after that, decided to do it the right way. Okay, that doesn't negate that you did it the wrong way the first time. Okay? So, that's where I say, you guys never released that you were discussed with the Ethics Commission. You were. Okay? My open meeting law complaint that I filed.
The
all right?
second one.
The first one.
Oh,
The first one I filed, all right, where you guys were found at fault because you all knew you were going to discuss Sharon Clark as being the utilization of the consultant at that meeting. You all knew it because you all had the email before that this is what we want to do. And so it was basically what I say, here's a dog and pony show. Bottom line, that's what it was. Okay? Switching my pages here. So, in my opinion, there's no reason having a consultant for you guys. To be totally honest, you really don't need it. The stuff that you guys are dealing with really isn't. If it's something that's like you don't understand, okay, then you turn around and you go to our legal counsel. You go to turn around the planner, all right, this building inspector. Why? You got all these people in this town hall available for those issues. And you got your own lawyer.
Right.
And I did know, as soon as I got that public records request, all right, and I saw that it was going to Miss Attorney O'Donnell, I most definitely knew who she was. And as soon as I saw it, I said, huh, they probably shouldn't have sent this, but you know what? If you didn't send it, you would be concealing a violation of the law. She has a duty as being a lawyer that if she knows someone violated the law, she has to report it. It's like a mandated reporter. Okay, you all members knew, you may not have. That's why I didn't put your name on some and Mr. Norbert. I didn't put theirs on. I put yours because you've all been in government for a long enough period of time. You should know the open meeting law. You should know the public records law. All right? You don't. And it's proof when Greg Carver was here and talking to you guys, I didn't know that. Well, that's new. Did that change sometime? Okay, you want to say I'm wasting money when I do open meeting law complaints. Town council's wasting money because they're supposed to train you. It's in their contract. They're supposed to provide you training in the open meeting law and public records law, all right? And if you need any other training and other things, they're supposed to provide it. And if they don't provide it, they're not doing their job, okay? So when they sat here and he's educating you guys, the reason the open meeting law is and the complaint process is, so you guys can learn to do it the right way the first time. Do you understand that?
We don't need to be lectured by you.
Well, you don't need to be you don't need to be on this camera attacking me when I'm not here. I'm sitting here with you.
I'm not attacking you.
I stand up.
But I'll say it to your face, unlike you with your little band of groupies calling us names. You don't even say it to our face.
I'm here.
Yeah. Good.
So, which brings me to my other point. I work nights. I can't come to meetings at nights, all right? This is a hardship for me to take the night off to come here to this meeting. And I wanted to go to Selectmen, but that got canceled too.
Yeah.
All right? But needless to say, you need to understand, I work nights. That's my job. I don't come to meetings, that's why. I watch the meetings, as you see, I watch the meetings on time, because I want to know what's going on in my town. When I see something that doesn't look right, I'm going to say something, and that's my job as a resident, to make sure that you guys are doing your job the right way. And you may not like it, you may not like I use Facebook for it, but you know what? We don't have a town newspaper anymore, all right? Facebook is our town newspaper. That's the way people get information out of what's going on in this town, okay? And I have the right to turn around and say what I want to say, what I feel,
You do.
okay?
You do.
That's right,
And so
all
do
right? Most definitely, but you as an elected official have to be very careful, because when you make statements that are erroneous, that you know are false,
I don't,
okay?
I don't make those. You might, but I don't. So, all right, let's just get this over with.
So, alright, so let me hit this. When you made a comment, Pat, is what the point is. Pretty much I told you the point. The point of the open meeting law is there to make sure you guys are right.
I
Do you
know
understand
about
that?
the open meeting law. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right. So the point is, when I file a complaint, all right, complaints have to be put in a certain time frame. If you don't put it in within that, I want to say 30 days, if I remember correctly, within 30 days of when it happened, then the Attorney General's office will not go ahead and review it. Okay, there's a time frame.
Then let me ask you this.
Yes.
And I'll say that most of what you talk about is frivolous. It's the equivalent of going 1 mile an hour over the speed limit.
Tell that to the person that gets hit by that car because someone drives a mile over the speed limit.
Come on.
The same thing.
Let's go. If you've got a problem, or if you've got an issue, why don't you just come talk to us instead of filing these official complaints?
Wait.
Because you could come up to the same resolve and much quicker, and everybody would be much happier.
So my question to you is that, if I file an open meeting law complaint, and the Attorney General's office actually said this now, the board, committee, commission, whatever it is that receives that complaint, they should be reaching out to the person that filed it to have a discussion with them to resolve it beforehand. It's up to you guys to contact me to say, we received this, and my phone number's on the complaint. My email's on the complaint that you guys get. It's up for you guys to contact me and say, hey, can we sit down and talk about this? And that can happen. I want to tell you, ask Alan Germain. I was going to file an open meeting law complaint against Alan Germain and the Finance Committee, okay, because of their meeting minutes. I mean, their meeting agenda was not specific enough because he knew information prior to the meeting, more than 48 hours, of what they were going to discuss, all right, and that wasn't put on. Okay, Alan and I emailed back to each other, and I said, listen, if you promise to do it next time the right way, just give that information, okay, we can disregard this open meeting law complaint. I have no problem doing that. But guess what? Alan reached out to me, all right? So you have to understand, that's your requirement, okay? I am happy to go ahead, but when you go to Corvo and he writes up a thing that says that I should be sanctioned, all right, because my stuff are frivolous here, all right, you think that I'm not going to turn around and respond to that?
Okay, you know, and again, I just don't know why you've come to become the self-appointed open meeting law police, you know, and then you expect Well, if we don't go through the proper process, then we have to come hat in hand to you. You know, come on, let's just get this over with, and we know what we need to do, let's go. And you can stop the lecturing with the attitude, too.
All right, Roger's not here, so I don't think I should talk about Roger's stuff. I talked to you about the conspiring letter already, and the email that you sent to all those members, okay? If that was not given to me, all right, and was redacted in any way, shape, or form, you would still have had to release it to me, all right? Because all the information in there was sent to a quorum of the board, and therefore you would have had to release it to me anyways.
But if an attorney compliant on the top of it, that would have, those
No.
people who were doing the record search would have had another opinion, which they didn't do. So I have a little more to add to what you said.
Okay.
And what you required, but that's okay, keep going.
No, so with that being said, when someone puts in an open meeting record for emails, in that public records request, okay, you have to respond within 10 days.
That's
And they
correct.
did not respond within 10 days, therefore they couldn't charge me for those meeting minutes that they gave me. That being said, if there's attorney-client privilege, they have to document that these are attorney-client privilege, has to be redacted in some way, shape. Then I would go back to the Public Records Division and say, I want this reviewed to see. And as soon as they see that it was sent to a quorum of the board, they know it's an open meeting law complaint, they're gonna turn around and say, no, you need to release this because you violated the law, and you can't hide behind attorney-client privilege to violate the law.
I just have to tell you that all that you're saying obviously is true. I'm not gonna deny anything, okay? But I think you need to go upstairs and educate the public records lady, Jim Neely, who has to go in a server to get letters, and the subsequent review that should have happened, which didn't happen, upstairs in the select board, which would have been Shelby, but unfortunately she was on maternity leave.
Yeah.
And even Bob Fennessy or whomever. Those people have to be looked at as well. And let me tell you what I've done, and I'm gonna let you finish. I wrote to Elaine, and I copied Mark Townsend, and I copied Sarah Hewins, and I said, you know what? We need to have better education on the open meeting law. Yes. And I told them that I wanted to know how much money that the taxpayer, me and all these people, have already spent for the last 3 years, which they did do, okay? I also said to her what we need to do, and I truly believe that every committee chair, like myself, is responsible for all these people on my board, okay? And that education, and you're absolutely correct, is not given. And I said to her, we need to have more education, or the education that I take every other year for the ethics, right? You watched it, and you have to answer the questions, and it's a scoring, right? A scoring. You need to be scored. What good is it if Corbo gives me these, you know, pictures or whatever you want to call these things? What good is it? If these guys have questions and I have questions, it could be a violation because we can't answer it. But if we have the right education, now I'm going to ask you, Bob, tell us how we get the right education for all of our committees in town. You opened up telling us we don't have the right education. You're telling us that Corbo or whoever should come and educate us. I'm saying, listen, let's get a video, and you can help me find it, the same way I take the ethics video. I'm scored. I have to sign off, and somebody's collecting that, right? The same thing should happen. Every board should be in charge. The chairperson, that's the responsibility. I take that responsibility for all these people, including myself. And I think it's time that we find the right video and the right education so all of these people, including all the ones that you said you had looked at and so forth, won the determinations. We really, really need to be doing this in this town. First of all, there's 5 people on all of the boards in the town that haven't taken out papers. Who wants to serve? So they can get violations and so they can be harassed or whatever on Facebook? And that happens all the time, as you well know, right? That's true. That's true. Now, we don't have a Carver reporter either. That's awful in this town. What's happening to us in our town? There's no relationships anymore. No, it's going. So I think my next thing that I'm doing, and I might talk to you about, hey, help me find the right video, my education. So I want and I said this to Elaine, I believe if we found the right video, every department, every committee or every board should have the same ethics issues. In other words, the same process that happens. Every 2 years you gotta watch the movie. You gotta score it while you're watching the movie or whatever. And you have to hand the paper back in to say that you've taken it. We need to do that. Do you agree?
I agree. I'm not that one because I have other things that I'm in my life doing. But you are correct. The public records law and how that is run is wrong. I brought this up before as a selectman too. All right, that the public records, that when someone puts a public records request in for a board or committee, a notice should be sent to all those board members to say, hey, there's a public records out there. Do you have anything? Because if you use your private email to conduct business for the RDA, it's still a public record because you're doing business for the RDA.
Right.
Okay? So you have to be careful with that, all right? When you conduct business for the RDA, only use your RDA email, all right? That way there is a record of it,
Yes.
okay? So if you turn around and say, well, I have text messages from you to Sharon, well, guess what? If it says text messages, you gotta provide them. And I can tell you, it's been with the select board, all right, when people put it in, it's like, okay, well, here you go, all right, here they are. So you just really have to understand, the way to start with is to go online to the Attorney General's office webpage, and it has a whole thing about the open meeting law, and it gives you a baseline of it to say, all right, and then if you're interested, you go to the determinations, and the way the determinations work is you put a time frame, and that's what I did. I put like 1990, all right, to 215, which that's what I got my printout. I put Belbin down and it searched for everything but Belbin. If you want to search for an open meeting violation for a posting requirement, you put posting and look for violation, and it'll give you all of them. You can click on it, you can read that, and say, oh, okay, now I understand I gotta put someone's name when I go into executive session, unless there is a reason to not do it because of personnel issues with it.
Can I
Yes, sir.
just interject a couple of things?
Oh, yeah, sure.
What's your end game with all this?
My end game is to ensure that you guys all follow the open meeting law.
Because the one thing I'll tell you, I do a lot of work in real estate across this country. And I believe people that are on these boards are trying to do the right thing. And you're kind of coming at us since 2012.
Yep.
I don't get what your game is.
Well, you have to understand, in 2012, the ZBA screwed with me and my family. And Sharon Clark was part of it. I don't want to get into it because that's...
No, you don't, I'm
With
just
it.
saying, I'm
But
just
I'm telling
looking
you,
at
that's
a
the-
list of whatever you got here, 12 of them, whatever this is.
There's 14 total.
Okay, there's 14. That's great. I'm just saying, for the most part, what I've seen is that most people on boards like this are trying to do the right thing. And, you know, we're not gonna get it right all the time. And just coming at people, whether it's on Facebook or letters or whatever, you know, if you're really that upset, then you should be doing more of this. I understand you work at night, but if you're that upset about it, then you should be here.
And I bet...
All I'm saying is that, like, this is no way to solve anything. It's just continuing filing complaints at $15,000 for the tap.
Okay.
Did you think that got you anywhere?
Actually, it did.
Where?
It got me number 1 here, but number 2, it got me on the agenda. Number 3 is, it
You
got...
could have been on the agenda. All you had to do was show up. You could have been on the agenda anytime.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah?
Yeah, all you had to do was show up.
All you guys had to do is contact me when I filed my open meeting law. You chose to turn around and have the attorney. And I understand, attorneys love you guys to go to them because, hey, they get money from it, okay?
I just think my biggest point, though, here is that you filed these 14 complaints or whatever it is. And I just think that people across the country are just trying to do the right thing by volunteering for things like this. And you're having a huge issue with the fact that, you know, we're all volunteers here. We're not, you know, I'm no duty expert. Do I know real estate development? Yeah, I do. But we're all members of the town. We pay our taxes, like we were talking about before, and we're trying to do the right thing. And I can't speak to a lot of this because I just started 3 months ago. But I think what I've seen across the country is that people are trying to do the right thing. And just attacking them isn't the way to do it. And I've been here for 4 meetings now. And this is the first time I've seen you.
I work nights.
Well said, Jim.
I work nights.
Well,
So,
yeah.
you don't see the end game for this, but there is.
What's your end game?
My end game is to ensure that you guys all do the right thing.
I'm just trying to
not just
understand.
you.
I'm trying to understand what.
Who are you? I mean,
What?
I'm a resident taxpayer.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I am.
and so are a lot of people here. Okay, but my point is though, what are you looking to get out of this? We got 14 complaints. What would you change?
I would make sure that people follow the rules, okay, follow the
But
laws.
what's going so wrong? Okay, you know, and again, we're volunteers
So-
here. I'm never gonna
So
know
I'm
every
only
rule.
gonna talk
No.
about, I'm only gonna talk about the RDA stuff here because we're here in RDA.
Yeah.
Okay? You wanna talk about the other stuff, I'll be happy to talk about the other stuff, all right? But with the RDA, with Sharon Clark, okay, you guys all conspired to turn around and have her as a consultant. You may not like the word, but in all actuality, when you look at.
I wasn't here. I'm just
Okay.
saying, I'm just
Sorry.
pointing out that when you look across the country, in lots of rooms like this I've been in, and given presentations, I think for the most part, everybody's trying to do the right thing.
Well, the
And we're
problem is,
not attorneys, and we're not, you know, we're people who just go to work. You know, for the most part, that's who we are.
exactly. But you have to also understand that when you swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, when you go up there and take on an elected position, all right, or an appointed one, all right, you have to follow the laws. And if you don't, okay. But the best way to do that is to turn around and communicate back, all right? The lawyers, I don't think you should. If you have an open meeting law complaint that comes in, the first thing you should be doing is calling the person and say, can we talk about this? All right? And chairman, vice chairman, or whatnot, as long as you don't do a quorum, all right, sit down and talk about it and say, how can we do this? Now, my first open meeting law complaint that I filed, okay, I filed, and I didn't even know about the emails at that time. I didn't know about those at the time when I filed it. So lo and behold, what do I have here? I now turn around and find out there's communication prior to you guys discussing a thing. And that's an issue, all right? When you guys turn around and have access to all this information prior to coming to a meeting, okay, that there's an end game. The end game was to hire Sharon Clark as a consultant. That's what the email was. So
So
that
this is
email-
personal for you.
Huh?
This
Oh,
is
most
personal
definitely.
for you.
Most definitely,
Yeah.
with her. I'll make no points about it. With Sharon Clark, it is
Yeah,
personal.
but this-
What she did to me and my family, all right, and she violated the laws, yeah, okay, but like I said, that's ZBA stuff,
So you're based on revenge.
huh?
You're
I'm
based on revenge. You just
To some point.
You
To
just
some point I
you just
am.
admit, and then revenge has no place in here, no place at all.
Well, no
And that's where
place,
you're, and that's where you're coming from, because you admitted it twice now, just in the last few minutes. You're based on revenge, and that is no place to be.
she violated my rights.
Then you deal with her.
I have.
Then you deal with someone else. But now your revenge now is to hit any board you can.
She's not a resident of the town.
Wait a minute.
She's not a resident of the town. She moved out of
We
town.
know-
She
we
now
all-
lives in Plymouth.
We all know
Okay?
that. But
So
you're-
therefore,
But you're saying from years ago.
She never served
now,
on this board
you're-
illegally.
You're all based on revenge.
I understand that.
Awful. Just
I
an
understand
awful
that,
thing.
all right? But the opinion from Greg Corbo was wrong, okay? And I hate to say this again over and over again, but you were trying to get her on as a consultant for this committee on the bare fact that I turned around and I exposed that she was no longer a resident. And that's my opinion, is that's why you want her as a consultant to come back, is retaliation because I turned around and got her off the board.
No.
You
No,
didn't get her off
that's
the
not.
board. You didn't get her off the board.
No.
She
Yes, I
told us,
did.
she told us well before that she was planning on moving.
You got delusions
Anyway.
right now. You know, it's all this revenge is just carrying you to no end.
Well, I wish you would apologize. A big thing is apology with me. All right, you make a mistake, you apologize to me and say, move on. All right, when you turn around and you don't.
Don't make it about her. This isn't about her. This is about this board and every other board that you're trying to put through the ringer. And it's all based on your revenge to, I'm not even gonna say her name, but it's revenge-based. You admitted it probably 2-3 times in the last 5 minutes, and that's an awful place to come from.
Well,
And
what she
that's
did to
what-
my family is awful too,
Then you deal with her.
okay?
You deal with her or you deal with someone else. But you're taking that and you're putting it as to part of everything that you do. And that's just plain wrong. That is really wrong.
No, what's wrong is if
No,
you guys do
that's
things
wrong.
against the law,
Yeah, and we know that, and we know that.
okay?
And you got
So
that
the way you move on from
dotted,
this,
T's
the way you move on, and I know you want to
crossed,
do that, you
come
want
on.
to move on. The way you move on from
Let's
this
go.
is say, we admit we made a mistake.
We can't because you told us not to say anything about this, which
Well,
is probably wise advice.
Exactly, and I'm saying that for you guys' safety, all right, about the one that's coming up.
I get that.
Okay,
Right.
but in the future, all right, when you get an open meeting law complaint, the first thing you should do is call the lawyer and say, hey, we got an open meeting law complaint. The second one is say, we want to talk to him, okay, and try to resolve this. Because at any time, a person that files a complaint, it doesn't go to the Attorney General's office until after the response by counsel, all right, or the chairman, or whoever's responding to it, okay? If that response is not satisfactory, then the person's gonna file it up the chain to have it looked at by the Attorney General's office.
Why does it have to go that far? Why does it have to go to an open meeting law complaint? Why can't you come to us beforehand and say, look, you made a mistake, I have the rights here to file an open meeting law complaint, why don't we talk about it? Why go to the time and effort of filing the complaint when you can come to us first and say, let's see if we can work this out? Instead of going through that. We don't know until we see the open law complaint that you've done this. So, yeah, maybe we should come back to you after you do that, but we don't know that that's an availability. Once the open law complaint is in, we think it's in the government, in the AG's office, and now we have to respond. Why don't you, if you realize that we've done something wrong, ask Joanna to be on the agenda at our next meeting and come in and say, look, this is what you guys did at this meeting. There's enough here for me to file an open meeting law complaint. Can you explain why this happened so maybe we can just let this go away? Why don't you take the first step in doing that instead of taking the first step with the government?
But I didn't. And the reason with, the reason.
No, that's a good point. Answer that.
But this is the reason.
You have to
The
answer
reason I
that.
don't is that if I have a meeting with you, says, hey, there's one, and then you turn around and say, oh, well, I don't care, see you later. If I don't file it within a certain time frame, then I can't report it to the open meeting law and the AG's office. So that's where it comes in place. And this is what the AG's office says, and you can call them and talk to them about it. They say, once you get that open meeting law complaint, work it out with the complainant, so it doesn't come to us. That's what their goal is. I don't think Attorney Corbo ever turned around and said that to you guys.
Never.
All right? That's what they want you to do. They want you to communicate to the person that filed that complaint, because I filed the complaint to you, okay? You have 10 days to respond to it, all right? You can ask for an extension, usually they give it to you anyways for the response, all right? But you have 10 days to respond. You respond to me, all right? The response comes to me, all right? And then I determine, is that response good enough, resolves the issue, and I don't have to.
But you don't grant us the extension, the state does.
Right, the state does.
So if we need an extension, because as a group we only meet once a month, we don't
That's right.
have 10 days,
That's
we need
right.
30.
Right.
So that 30 days goes by before we respond to the state, and at that point, it's in the works, right?
And the Attorney General knows that, and they give those extensions all the time to boards that only meet once a month, and depending on when it comes in. They understand that.
Right.
All right, but within that time frame, it's up for you guys to come to me or to the complainant.
So what do you want us to
and
do, call you
resolve.
like once a week?
Excuse me?
What do you want us to do, call you like once a week?
No. If I file an open meeting law complaint, all right? Or
Can you
anyone
give
else
us a
does.
heads up that you're going to do
I
that
think
beforehand?
that's the point,
No,
is that you're
because
doing this, and like, we don't know for 30 days.
Why can't you say, hey, I got something here, let's talk about it?
Because if you don't, if I don't file a complaint
You
within a
said you're
certain
30
time frame,
you said you're 30
lose it.
days.
You lose that ability to go and seek the Attorney General's office. So, and this is what, they said, file it when you know about it. Like, those emails that got sent out, I turn around, and if you look at the time frame, I just received those. It's when you know a violation has occurred, that's when the time frame starts. Okay, so if you have a meeting tonight, and there's an open meeting law complaint about it, all right? If I don't file it within, I want to say 14 days, all right?
You
then
said
I can-
30 before.
Oh, 30, whatever, 30 days.
No, it's a difference.
All right, there is a difference, 30
there
days,
is a
whatever.
difference.
But no matter what, if I don't file it within that time frame, then I lose out.
Is it within the 14 days of when the violation occurs? Or when
Yes.
you see it? It's
When the
you-
violation occurs, all right, or you knew about it, that's the other thing.
That's two different things too.
It is, because like I said, the video that I saw, the meeting that I saw, and I said, okay, fine, that's a violation, I'm gonna submit that in, okay? But the email's a different thing. I didn't know about that email until I got the public records request. That's why the other one, it's from far back here, but they're gonna review it because I found out about it here and I reported it within its time frame.
But you say there are two different things. It's either the time of the violation or the time that you found out about the violation. So
Correct.
if we have a meeting and you're away for 3 weeks and you come back 3 weeks later and you see that we did something wrong, that your 14-day clock starts then.
No, it doesn't. It's when it could. When it could have been found. I shouldn't
That's
use
different.
That's
Okay.
different, I'm sorry.
All right.
When you could have found it out. Because if that happened, you could be filing it forever and ever and ever, and that's
Right.
that's wrong, it's not fair.
All right, so
All right?
getting back to my point.
Yes.
If something happens like that and you find it, and I'd love to know whether it's 14 days or 30, because that does make a big difference. Within a 30-day time frame, we are probably going to meet.
Right. I think it's 14 days, to be honest. I think it's 14 days.
Well, if you can find
have to-
that out,
they
let
have to
Joanna
respond.
know.
It's like a public records request, you have 10 days to respond
Okay,
to it. So
That's
it
fine.
may be 10 or 14 days.
all right.
like I said.
Well,
But no matter what, you just have to respond. And even with the responses, you just have to respond now. Yes, we received it, okay, for public records. We received it, we're working on it. It's gonna cost this much amount of money for it at this time or whatever for it. In open meeting law, you have to respond to it, say, we received it, we're gonna review it. If you can't do it within the time frame to get a full response, you have to go to the Attorney General's office and ask for extension for it.
right.
And they usually always do.
They do, because we don't meet.
All right.
However, we're all local. If you were to come to Joanna, you were to alert Joanna that, hey, I saw something on your last meeting video that's problematic, Joanna could contact all of us and say, we need to have a meeting, and we have to have it in the next 5 days to address a potential open meeting law violation. And then we could get you in and we could talk about it before you file the paperwork. Because why wouldn't that be a reasonable way to do it? Instead of us getting an email saying, from KP Law, saying an open meeting law violation has been assigned against you.
I want to protect my rights to file a complaint. That's the total reason. I want to protect my right to file a complaint.
Fine, if you call Joanna and say, can you set up a meeting so we can talk about this before I file my complaint, and Joanna says no, then you send it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're still within your 30 days or 14 days or whatever it is. But give us a chance first before you go to the trouble of sending it in.
That could be an option.
No, not could be.
Well, I
Well,
think
Should
it
be. Let's make it should be.
Well,
Because, I mean,
How about it? How about a should be?
it
It's
depends on what the violation is.
I understand that,
Give
but
us
it's
a
a lot
chance.
less adversarial that way.
Right.
No, we don't, I can't, you're right that we shouldn't talk about the other one that's still pending. And after decisions made on that one, I would love for you to come back so I can at least say some things that I'd like to say about the one that's still pending. I think you're wise in telling us not to say anything at this point until there's a decision. But there are things that I would certainly like to say to you in a civil fashion. But I think that we should all be in this together. We should not have this as being an adversarial situation every time. It should be something that you know, if you're going to be the watchdog, and that's fine. I have no problem with you doing that. You know, if your kid didn't do the homework, you don't go to the principal first. You talk to your kid. You say, hey, you got to do your homework, or the principal's going to know about it. You know, come and talk with us. Talk to Joanna. Say, look, I see something. It's probably a problem. Can you get the board together? If Joanna calls us up and says, can you get together? And we can, we'd love to have you come in and talk about it. You still have, the clock is still ticking. You still have time to do it if you don't get the results that you want in speaking with us. And if Joanna can't get us all together, then you send it in anyway. But I just think that it's better for us to find out that you're doing this from you than to find out from KP Law.
Well, see, and that's the issue that you have, is when one file's get against you, it should go to you. But my feeling is, and the Attorney General's office feels the same way, is once you receive one, you should contact that person and discuss it with them. That's what should happen.
What should happen is you talk to us first.
But if that doesn't work out, and
then you send it in.
But the thing is that if the person does not say anything bad about you, Joanna, all right, but if that person I sit down and talk to about it says, oh, okay, all right, and we'll discuss it at our meeting or whatnot, and then it gets delayed, and then delayed, and delayed, wait, then I lose my time frame to filing it.
No, you don't, because you have it ready to go. And the day before your time runs out and that you don't get any response, or the response that yes, we'd like to talk about it, then you send it in anyway. You have it ready to go. You just don't do that as your first step. You don't send it as your first step. You try to arrange it, because talking about it between us before you send the open meeting law violation or after is the same discussion. So why not do it proactively before that goes into the state?
But it doesn't go into the state unless the response isn't...
You don't send it to us, you send it to the state. You send it to the agency.
It's not my responsibility to send it to the state at first. It's up to town council or whoever you say to send it to the state. If I don't like the response, then I ask the state to review it. That's what I do. And I can tell you, the responses that Greg Corpo made, all right, are wrong, all right? It's not a good opinion by him on either one of them, okay? And the Attorney General said, yeah, right, on that first one, okay? And I'm sure they're gonna do. But also to turn around and say that I should be sanctioned when it's clear that the open meeting law complaints that I filed, more have been found in violation by town boards and committees in this town, okay? And one of them, actually two of them, actually set out that, this was never before, that when you change an agenda on it, you have to put a time and a date of when that agenda has been changed. That's because of me. That's because of an open meeting law complaint that I filed, okay? It came up, and that was never discussed before, that a board changed the agenda, okay? We didn't know when it got changed, how it got changed, there was no notification of it that it got changed, okay? Now, because of my open meeting law complaint, the Attorney General's office came out with a decision that said, you know what, you're right, they need to change this, so everyone knows when an agenda gets changed, all right? So, there are things that I have done that have made positive changes to this town, and also the state. Okay, and I understand, and I will work to do that better if I have one for you guys. It all depends on who's other boards, committee, or whatever, all right? But my main goal of being here today is to ensure that you guys understand that there are people watching, we just want things done right, okay? And we don't want things done behind closed doors. And that email was behind closed doors, in my opinion. Okay?
We can't talk about that.
And I understand that.
So I want you to come back when we can talk about it.
Okay.
Because I've got something to say about that, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Please do. Okay. But, like I said, I will do my best with this board and committee, that if I see something going on that I don't like, Joanna, we can converse already about things, okay?
Oh, sure.
We may have differences of opinions on things, which is fine, all right? But this, with Sharon Clark, this hit home with me to turn around and see it, all right? It hit home that said, oh my God, I can't believe this was being done. But that being said, I have a bunch of other things here that, you know what, I'm not even gonna bring up, okay, with it, all right?
Can I just ask one last
Yes.
thing? What, like, egregious action over all this time has really happened that you've made all these complaints? Like, what horrible thing has happened in this town? Because if we're all trying to do the right thing, like, what horrible thing has happened to you? And I don't know the answer to all.
We'll have to discuss that off, it's not gonna be the RDA here, all right?
All right, there's one other thing I just want to mention, and it was in the letter back from the Attorney General's office, that on the August, the first one that they've already issued a ruling on. And that was that if we did it again, it would show intent, which means that right now there has been no visible signs of intent to defraud or to do something wrong. The fact that if there's a second violation, it would show intent. That the first violation, because it was in effect a slap on the wrist, proved or thought to the Attorney General that
Wait, I'm just gonna...
No, let me finish, please.
Okay.
That there was no intent on our behalf on that August 2nd meeting to create an open meeting law violation.
So that first one, they said they found you in violation of the agenda, only saying that it's a utilization of consultant, all right? That was insufficient because y'all knew you were gonna talk about Sharon Clark at that meeting, all right? And the evidence that I submitted proved that for it. Okay, that's what they found. If you provide insufficient evidence on any further agenda item, they're now saying that if you do it again, you could be, because you know what the qualifications are for an agenda item, you have to put what you're gonna talk about, all right, and it has to be detailed of what you're gonna, it doesn't have to be everything, but it has to give enough information to the public to know what you're going to discuss at your meeting.
I get that.
All right, so if you violate it again, they're gonna turn around and somebody files an open meeting law complaint, they're gonna find that as intent. And how they handle that, a couple of different ways that I've seen. One is they give you another slap, and you get another shot, slap on the wrist. Okay, other times they'll turn around and whatever actions you've done, they're gonna nullify it. Or they can turn around and fine you up to $1,000.
Okay.
Okay, so there are actions to this and reactions for doing the same thing over and over again. Now, I didn't even bring up that Joanna was on the board when Brian Abadetto did the same thing. Sent a email to a quorum of the board,
I remember that,
and I filed an open meeting law complaint. I didn't even bring that up.
Guess what, I forgot.
Okay?
Do we have can we forget? I'm 81, hello?
No, listen, I understand that, okay? But that too is like, okay, we gotta do better. And as a board member, if you see a violation happen, it's your responsibility to say something. If you see something that doesn't look right, come to your meeting, the next one, and report it and say, hey, I think we made a mistake here. Because if someone files a complaint against you, says, we've already discussed this in open session, all right? And we've already admitted that we made a mistake and we resolved it this way, then they're gonna turn around and say, well, it wasn't an intentional act.
Well, I'd like you to come back after this current one that's pending is decided. And so we can talk about that one in particular a little bit more.
And personally, I think you will get a slap on the wrist again for that one, because that one, the complaint that I filed again wasn't before you got the results of the other one, so, just in my opinion, you're gonna get a slap on the wrist. Just like this one, to be totally honest.
These are all the complaints that you filed?
All of them.
So,
if you go to the Attorney General's website and look for determinations.
all right, so prior to the one that we got the ruling on just now, on the 24th of January, the last one that you did was in 2017?
Yes. I have the other one that's outstanding. There's one outstanding.
Right, it's still going
Okay,
on.
there's one outstanding. All these are the ones, if you go search my name.
Okay, so you haven't done an open meeting law violation request for 7 years until...
That's right.
Okay.
But
All right.
I have a habit of doing it, I understand that, okay? So, do you understand that what you said is not accurate?
That was the perception. But I'm also going to say that little good can come of anything when your motivation is revenge. So we gotta move on to something else too.
Yeah, I guess we've covered it, and we.
Will you come back
I
after?
will come back.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All
And-
right, Bob.
I'm gonna shut my phone off now,
Yes, you can do that.
and what I'll do is I'll send it to Rich,
Okay.
so he'll get the front
So
part
the
of it.
beginning part, thank
So the
you.
beginning part, and they'll get it, 'cause-
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
no problem.
Listen, I just have to apprise the committee here for Patrick Higgins. Patrick Higgins is the open meeting law enforcer. Bob, do you know who Patrick Higgins is?
I saw his name on your agenda, and I had to go research him,
Oh, good, okay.
because I have no idea who he was.
Okay. Well, Patrick Higgins
Not
has...
the Carver one, right? The Atlanta one? It's not the Carver Pat Higgins. It's
Oh,
the
it's-
one from
It's
Atlanta.
He's
Atlanta.
from
Yeah,
Atlanta,
yeah,
yeah, he's the enforcer.
Yeah.
Because there is a Pat Higgins in Carver.
Yes,
There is one, yeah.
He doesn't live far from you
No,
either.
he doesn't.
So basically, this is the same concept, and we went through all of this, and I gave you all this documentation. And tonight, he already has the 3 executive sessions he wanted, which were draft.
Yep.
And he's already has those, so he's very satisfied with that. What now remains is the 2020 executive sessions that we have just released. That should complete it. Now, talk about OML, yes, within the 30 days, we couldn't comply to it. I was forced to close the meeting. And then, of course, after that, we rescheduled it, it snowed, we didn't have a meeting, and so now we pushed it out. So the action for me tomorrow morning is to give that to Attorney Corbo, those, the released executive sessions, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Now, I'm surprised that he didn't know who Patrick Higgins was. I'd like to know is, how does Patrick Higgins get involved in these things?
He's an enforcer, and let me just tell you what I've learned. First of all, he's a lawyer.
I'm going to do 3. How does he get involved in these things? Who's feeding in information and who is paying him?
Well, a good question about paying, I've already asked that question, but this Patrick Higgins, as an open meeting law enforcer, he has written and has attacked several of towns other than Carver.
Yeah.
Lancaster,
I've seen
towns
this.
I haven't even heard of, to be honest
I
with
looked
you.
him up, yeah.
And he didn't just go after the RDA, he went after the Zoning Board of Appeals, he went after RDA, he went after the Planning Board, and he went after the Select Board. Now, some of the things that are open-ended for me, that I'm going to be talking openly with Tom Bott, is how come things that we do here are not recorded and set and done safeguard? We have a secretary and she has it on her computer, and then after that we approve things and it goes on to the website. There are several boxes that Tom Bott has underneath the table he has that was left by Jim Walsh. It was those envelopes that I had gone, or those folders that I had gone through where I found these executive sessions, and Lord knows there's a lot more there that I have to come in and look through. My question, I'm going to ask him, how come, we're a municipal entity. We don't have a high impact on the town, but we are. Can we be backed up? I'm going to ask him, can we? If he says yes, good. If he says no, then I'm going to buy a 2 gigabyte hard drive and give it to the Susan Hannon over there so she can have everything. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to inundate all of this material on the town clerk, see how she likes it. I mean, it's crazy, it's stupid. But the bottom line is this, his action began way back in 2012 or how many, but education is really lacking, as you well know, it is. And one of my goals is to put him out of business. That's my goal. And I'm going to do that with education, and every board's going to have to do. And I just openly told you what I'm looking for and to have to happen. And I'm not quite sure what the next one is, but we'll deal with that when it comes.
He'll find something that happened tonight.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my story.
Okay.
Well, let's move on. And we are going to hire the consultant. We are.
Well, at this point, we don't need one. But I want to get up to the planning board to find out what's happening with
Okay.
And we'll take a
You gonna
vote
go
on
with
that.
Savory?
Route 44.
Yeah.
We have our next meeting, and I suppose we can make this adjournment.
Okay.
Let's adjourn, it's 7:40, 7:52.
7:51.
Motion to adjourn?
7:50. I hear a second, so moved. No further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.